Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love and Marriage Detroit Season 2, Episode 10.
This is Season 2.
Yes.
It feels like Season 5.
Yes.
Right? Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. I have a question, Blair. Just overall, what did you think about this season? This part of the season, not the the whole Season 2 thing. What is your thoughts so far on this show, on this franchise right here overall?
I'm kind of over it. I actually wanted to stop watching it and stop reviewing it pretty soon on. But then it said this was the season finale, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I don't have to keep doing this. Just because it's very repetitive and the same issues are happening, and it's nice to see at this episode people seem to are coming back together, but I think the drama's stale. I just think it's very stale. Maybe if we would have pushed through the whole season, then it wouldn't have lost like its mojo possibly. But at this point I lost interest. So
yeah, I think they did a disservice on giving a break this long for Season 2. Because it does feel like it's been going on for over 3 years, at least the issues. Hopefully Season 3, if there is a Season 3, it will be better. Hopefully it won't be a long break, but I got a lot to say about these characters personally on the show, at least the characteristics that they show on the show. You ready to walk us through this?
Yes.
Let's go.
So the couples have dinner. Kristina and Kim are in a better place. Kristina says that the love that they have for each other is still there, and they hug. Kim tells LaToya and Kolby to give Kristina grace. Kolby knows that her relationship with Kristina isn't what it was, but she can see that Kristina has made efforts to show that she's trying.
So this right here, let's start with Kim, right?
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of Kim.
Yes.
Right? But it's evident that people want to be friends with Kristina. Kristina could be all these things to the point where I'm going to bring clothes you got me, jackets, coats, all the above, and throw it on the floor in the middle of this establishment, right? But at the end of the day, I can still hug you, call you my sister girl, and be like, we're in a better place and things of that nature, right? When it comes to Kolby, at the end of the day, you can obviously see they are not in a great place. They basically, I think they are the pure definition of we just here so we don't get fined. We just here working. We went from potentially being sisters to being friends to now we're just castmates and things like that. And I could tell it still bothers Kolby, right? I don't know if it bothers Kristina as much because as we're going to see in the episode, it felt like a pile on Kristina thing. Right?
Yeah.
And it was just weird to me to watch.
Well, I guess for me, I think that with them that when they have grievances, Kristina sometimes can dismiss their grievances.
That's her move.
And I think that they're more so frustrated because they want their friendship with Kristina, but they want Kristina to be a good friend to them. Okay. And in the situations that Kim has brought up and Kolby has experienced, Kristina hasn't showed up as the best friend, and they want her to acknowledge that and to shift, But she at times doesn't acknowledge it. She doesn't see the things the same way that they do. And because of that, it's hard to get back on good footing when to them, objectively, you were late to the baby shower. Objectively, you didn't have my back when somebody was talking about me on my phone. Or in Kolby's situation, you kind of threw me under the bus in a business arrangement. So I think that Kristina, because she doesn't see it their way, she is defending her position, which makes sense because if I don't agree with you, I'm not going to agree with what you're saying. Yeah. But I think that Kristina could be a better friend in different ways,
Yeah. And I think my issue with it is if she's a bad friend, why you want to be friends with her then? Like, as in just cut it off. Like, at the end of the day, like a zebra can't change its stripes. So if she is someone who do not take accountability or not considerate of your feelings and things like that, I wouldn't want to be friends with someone like that. I think we're at that age now to where, you know what, you're fully grown. Kristina's not in her 20s. She's not in her 30s, right? She's in her 40s. So she's a fully grown woman, and more times than not, she's not going to change who she is. So I don't even understand this whole talking about it. This is what you did. Care about me, care about me, care about us, care about this friendship. With where Kristina, she have shown herself, if she don't want to care about it in the way that you want to care about it, then why are you still pursuing this? That's why I'm not really a big fan of Kim. I'm really not a big fan of Dr. LaToya, to be honest, especially since she's over here calling people ghetto, where I think she's probably the most ghettoest person on the show, in my opinion. But we will get to that.
So Brandon asked how much money Anthony's put into LaToya's brand.
Yeah.
Now LaToya's talking about you over here counting our pockets, and Anthony thinks Brandon is beating a dead horse.
Mm-hmm.
Russell is nervous about how to allocate his time between his wife, his upcoming 2 children, and the businesses. He also has 20 more years that he wants to put into the military, which is Kolby's first time hearing. She thought he was nearing his end of his service.
Okay.
Marcel shares a story about how he has 2 uncles who did the 20-year route. One of them is still married and one of them is not, because he did not communicate that with his wife as just a warning for him.
Yeah, I want to talk about that real quick.
Sure.
Right? When it comes to Brandon and Anthony, this whole idea where Brandon say, "Why? How much money did you put into your wife's business and things like that?" Anthony, why do you have a problem talking about that now?
Yeah.
Any other time you put the number out there. Now that your wife is here, now that everybody's here, you got the audience that you want, Anthony. Tell us how much money you have been putting in your wife's business, because you have no problem telling the fellas that.
And I guess that's what frustrates me about Dr. LaToya too, is because I think that she likes to try to come across as diplomatic, but she's actually not.
No.
And when it comes with her husband, she, instead of the conversation, being about how Anthony has been flexing on everybody how much he put into her business, LaToya's like, why is Brandon checking our pockets? Brandon's being weird. Brandon's doing that. Yeah. And I'm just like, I wonder how Anthony relays stories to you, because you definitely have this all twisted.
Yeah. And then I actually want to know what you think about Kolby's reaction, and even Russell letting everybody know, hey, yeah, I plan on doing about 20 years in the service and things like that, to where she basically was taken aback. It's like, 20 years? What was your reaction, if you had one?
Yeah, I wish that, because Kolby has talked to Russell about him making decisions and then just scooping her into it after the fact.
Yeah.
And I could tell that she was frustrated and hurt and annoyed. And that's why she ended up changing the conversation, because she was tired of talking about it. So I thought that she was fair for feeling however she felt, because here you go doing the same thing again. Like, why are you not listening?
Yeah. Fair, maybe. I didn't feel like it was fair. I had more questions more than answers, I guess. Because I'm like, okay, if you don't want him in the gym as a business owner, when it comes to him owning the gym, because it's taking away time from raising a family and being with you, and he's too busy, right? And you don't want him being in the military for that long, to where he hits certain benchmarks. There's certain benchmarks that you can get with the years of service that you in, that gives you more money, that gives you more rank and things of that nature. So I'm like, what do you want Russell to do? That's where my question's coming at. Like, so if he can't be a full-time business owner, and if he can't be full-time in the military and things of that nature, what is it that Russell should do? Especially if you want an au pair and things like that, or au pair rather. I'm just more confused of like, hey, the guy got to work. If he's not going to be a business owner, okay, then he get a 9-to-5. The 9-to-5 is the military. You don't want him doing that for 20 years. What is it that Russell can do then? That's what I was left with that. Now, should he have had these conversations with Kolby? Of course. But I will hope in those conversations that she comes with like another option than just like, no, you can't do 20 years, or like you can't be in the gym for that long. Like, give me something then. Because the only thing you're telling me is that you don't want me to do this and you don't want me to do that.
Yeah.
Then give me something.
So Kolby changes the subject to ask Kristina about her music career, and she's trying to figure out if she wants to be a full-time artist and performer, or if she just wants to put music out. Brandon tells her, she also talks about, because she has the kids, and he's talking about how you keep prioritizing the kids over your work, and he tells Kristina that she's going to be performing within the next week. She wants to know, well, who's going to have the kids for that night? And he says, well, you find somewhere for the kids to go when you go to church at night. And she says, well, that's me sacrificing for God. And he tells her the kids will be safe. Essentially, you're going to be working.
This storyline is the most frustrating because I feel like this was this was in the clause of us getting back together. Hey, if we go be back together to where you can move back in instead of living with your mama, you have to make me into an artist. But truth be told, Christina's heart and her will is not into being a full-time artist or even a part-time artist. She's asking, where is the kids going to be? Where are the kids now?
Right.
Dude, you get on, like, so it's like you're finding every excuse. Hey, guess what? When, like, you have those social media, because, you know, Christina be on social media because she's a content creator and things like that. When you got to work for that and work for other companies with sponsors and brands of that nature, it's never where the kids or what I'm going to do with the kids. If you're not really passionate about it, then guess what? You will always find walls and stumbling blocks and reasons why you can't do what you do. Brandon's basically saying, hey, I'm about to throw you into the deep end to see, for one, if you can sing, if you can remember the lyrics, if you can perform. It's only going to be us there. But you know what? If you can find every reason not to do it, then maybe you're not cut out for it.
So Brandon and Christina are at the Star Factory rehearsing. She needs to learn the words to the song and work on her facial expressions.
Yeah.
Bravo arrives and we learn that Christina's going to be performing at his new place. Chelsea arrives and they discuss the upcoming performance and the events of the staycation.
Yeah.
Christina tells her that Anthony and LaToya thought that they were being messy by bringing Chelsea, and Chelsea hears her, but when it comes to the performance, she thinks that everyone should still be invited so that way Christina can get real feedback.
Okay. You have any thoughts on this?
Nope.
Okay, let's keep going.
So Kolby and Russell are getting their nursery together for the new baby, and Kolby at this point feels prepared to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
This pregnancy has been rough for her, but she does need some time for herself. The au pair won't be there until June, July, and she is getting an au pair because she wants to make her life as easy as possible.
Ooh.
Russell says that he is going to be there to help, but Kolby doesn't think he's going to be at home for months until the au pair gets there.
Yeah.
So they both want to make sure they dedicate time to their daughter they currently have, so she still feels loved and cared for when the new baby arrives.
You have any thoughts?
Yeah,
because this scene told me everything I needed to know.
Yeah, it was a few things for me.
Yeah.
Number one, I do agree that Kolby should have time for herself. And actually, I've seen stuff online, too, about people having night nurses and things like that, which I think is awesome to have after you have a baby, especially to give your body time to heal and just for you to get rest and sleep, because it's a lot to raise a child.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard. And for her, when she's talking about choosing things to make her life easier, I think that is a privilege and a luxury that it's awesome and amazing to have. But I also think that she has to come to a realization that life is hard, period.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be sacrifices and hard parts, and you don't have to complain every step of the way. You just have to figure out a way to navigate and move forward. And I think that's the thing with Kolby, is that sometimes the way that she approaches hard situations is just in such a defeated way. And in such a way that it becomes Russell's fault or Russell's problem. And that's just not sustainable.
No.
So I'm hoping that at some point she can, not to say that she's not a real partner to her husband, but don't be such a drag in a way, if that makes sense. There are things he needs to improve on, but she also can improve her attitude. I think her attitude doesn't help the hard situations.
And look, Wayne, you're right, Blair. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Because let's go back to see if you... I'm going to see how good your memory is. If y'all go back to season 1, that was 10 years ago, right? She had a conversation with her aunt.
Yeah.
Right? With her aunt, where she wasn't able to have kids and things like that. And her aunt wasn't chastising her. She wasn't condemning her. But she was rightfully so just giving her information of why she should see children as a blessing. Because you know what? I was not able to have kids and things like that. And she wasn't saying like, oh, I wasn't able to have kids, so you should be happy to have kids. It didn't work out for her. That wasn't in her cards. Even though she said the Lord blessed her to where in her church she like became like a youth minister or like a youth leader.
So that she has children in her life.
So she has children in her life, right? So all this time she's trying to turn Kolby's perspective of basically like, hey, what you have is a blessing. It's not a hardship, right? And this right here already lets me know something across the lines happened in the scene to where, because the conversation kicked off with something like, Kolby's asking Russell, how will you feel about the children sharing a room with a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old? Russell says, hey, listen here, look, when I was 5 years old, I was learning how to wash my clothes. I actually was learning how to basically step up in ways I knew how to step up and things of that nature. And Kolby basically said, life don't have to be that hard, And then in the confessional, to Blair's point, she's talking about, look, if money can basically give us a life of ease, like why not choose the easy path? If Russ is not in the military for 20 years, and if he's not a business owner to where he can work these hours and basically build his business, where is this money coming from?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that is where you can have an au pair.
Like, you don't want him to work as much, but you still want the same amount of money. So how does that work?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy. Mm-hmm. As we're going to see later on in the episode, because Kolby's going to talk to Chelsea and talk about how she's not really a brand manager and things of that nature. And Chelsea going to say, hey, you just started your whole brand thing on social media and things like that. So I'm guessing because Kolby just started and she's upcoming, that her checks and things of that nature ain't paying for her lifestyle. So my thing is, hey, the fact that Russell can say, hey, I retired my wife. And I understand Russell do need to be more understanding. Russell need to be more, he need to communicate about his plans and things like that. Hey, the first time I tell you about my plan to do with my life should not be in front of a group of people before my wife. Actually, my wife should not be surprised with
any information.
Right. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there's definitely 102% ways that Russell can be better. But in this moment right here, this lets me know that, Russell don't have 2 children. He have 3. He have his 2 children, and he got to deal with Kolby. And I will hope that these are just characteristics, that these are just emotions in the ocean and things like that, that these are just peaks and valleys in relationship, and this is not the reality that she think that she can live, to where you can have all these things in this lifestyle, and nobody's working, and everybody's basically, everybody is accommodating your feelings, and you want no hardships. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, as Russell was basically saying, like, we have to basically attack these things with a positive attitude. And things like that. And I'm just like, I think Kolby can take some practice in actually looking at the brighter side of things instead of just basically like, I want a life of ease. Tackle the hard things, man.
Yeah. So Bravo and Lakita go glasses shopping.
Yeah.
Her biggest concern for him is his safety.
Yeah.
He needs to keep her informed as far as where he's going. Mm-hmm. And she actually recommends to share locations the way that Kristina and Brandon do.
Okay.
So he thinks that honestly sharing the locations might actually contribute to the issues and the insecurities that Kristina and Brandon have. So do we really want to do what they're doing? Yeah. But Lakita presses him. He agrees to it. So they share locations.
Yeah. I do not agree with the sharing the locations thing if you're using Brandon and Kristina as the example, because the foundation of why they are sharing locations is because Brandon cannot be trusted. But this scene actually told me a lot about, hey, we talked about husbands, in this case, Russell last scene, not listening or basically hearing their wife when they give their concerns and things of that nature. Bravo is not listening to his wife at all, right? Because her whole thing that she also said in the scene was, hey, you buying these jewelry, you buying these pieces, you basically want to look flashy, and you're basically obtaining more things that people may just want to take up off.
Yeah,
of you.
Like you're like a red flashing light to a thief.
So locations won't help that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? My wife knowing where I'm getting robbed won't help that. Mm-hmm. Maybe the fact that we're in the jewelry store and I'm getting new pieces, because here's the thing about it. If you're going to be part of this nightlife lifestyle, there's a look that you want to that you have to keep basically obtaining and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the bigger issue. If there was a way to where you could be part of this lifestyle and not look like the rappers and not look like the trappers and things like that, and not look like, to Blair's point, a flashing red light that where people want to take stuff off of you, that maybe that would bring peace of mind. But his wife said it in the store. You keep wanting these flashy things, and that's concerning in my eyes.
Yeah. And I guess I think that's always the hard part about being in a marriage, is that you still have your individual wants.
Yeah.
At the same time wanting to make sure that your partner is secure and safe.
Mm-hmm.
If the man works hard and he wants some Cartier glasses,
sure,
then why can't he have a nice pair of glasses? But to her point, do you need to wear those like at 2 a.m. in the middle of Detroit? Like, yeah, does it have to be something that you're wearing in a position to where you're around people mm-hmm. and strangers to where they could know that you're the owner and want to try you? Like, is there a middle ground that you guys can find when it comes to that? And then also with the whole sharing locations, I mean, I honestly think that men and women just have a different perspective about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't have an issue with sharing locations. I think that personally, as a woman, I would prefer to share my location, so that way if anything does happen, you know where I'm at. You can get to me. But for men, I feel like a lot of the time you guys feel like I can handle anything that comes my way. So I really don't need you checking in on me like you're my mother, or you know, there's this whole other type of thing that you guys get as far as why is somebody on your back, so to speak. But to me, I can see the safety concern, and I agree with Lakita, but I think guys just feel differently about that.
Yeah.
So,
and
whether or not they're doing something or not, like, I just think it's a man thing. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think to her point, she do need to do the work of coming to terms to what happened in her father's to her father rather, and not having that fear. But I can see, if it was just the glasses of him just getting glasses, I don't think she would have a problem. But it's like, it's the glasses and the other stuff that you already have.
Yeah.
Like it's like, it starts with the glasses, the next thing you know, it starts off with a big chain that says Bravo on it, you know?
And then sometimes, like she said, he'll go places and be at different places, and he won't keep her updated on where he's at. And she's like, can you text me and just let me know? Even if you think I'm asleep, just text me and let me know you're okay. But he wants to be able to move freely as a grown adult, which is fine, but you're married, so you got to check in with your wife,
and
you know?
You're married to someone who's scared.
Yes.
So that's even more of the problem.
Yeah. So it's the day of the performance, and Christina is preparing to go on stage, getting her final instructions from Brandon. She performs, and everyone actually seems to think that she did pretty good.
Yeah, everybody except me.
Okay. Okay. So Chelsea talks to the ladies about making sure that Christina was comfortable on stage. And LaToya tells Chelsea how she acted at the podcast was disrespectful, calling it boring, was ghetto. Chelsea acknowledges that it was unprofessional. She wouldn't say it was ghetto. But if Anthony's taking shots, should she just sit there? And LaToya said, well, Chelsea, you were taking shots too. And that's when Chelsea's like, clearly Anthony tells stories the way he wants to.
Yeah.
LaToya felt like Chelsea shouldn't have been there at all. And Kolby said that if someone doesn't want you around, they just don't want to be around you. Well, Kolby, she's actually getting hyped. She's starting to yell, all this type of stuff. And Christina tells Kolby that she's doing too much. Then they say Christina doesn't ever step in to check Chelsea, but she wants to check Kolby. And Russell shuts everything down because he doesn't want to see his 9-month pregnant wife yelling and arguing. And to me, which is, I believe this is how I felt when it was the ring shopping, and that was part 2A of season 2.
20 years ago.
I'm just like, Kolby, you know you're pregnant. Don't get yourself worked up and riled up to be arguing with people. Protect your peace, you know?
And it's funny, the ones that's getting riled up the most wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Kolby's getting riled up where the conversation don't even involve her, to be honest, but she feels like she have to do LaToya a solid, because when it was Kolby and Christina going at each other, LaToya chose Kolby's side. So whatever side LaToya's on, she's basically gonna be like, you know what, I'm here for it. So that's why Christina's like, you're doing too much. Like, you wasn't even there, and you over here talking about I don't take accountability. How come you can't be quiet like how I'm being quiet? Because LaToya over here calling people ghetto, where whole time she wasn't even there. Now, my issue is this, though. They are having this argument. They having this discussion, whatever you want to call it, in front of the cast. Everybody's there, right? Kim, how come you didn't say nothing? Because privately, you told Christina that you do not believe Chelsea is ghetto, that you believe Chelsea does good work, and there's actually some things that she can work on, but you don't think she's ghetto, though. Now that it's public again and she's being called ghetto again out loud, are you going to have that private conversation with Christina and say, yeah, I don't think she's ghetto? And
then the only reason why Christina was going back and forth with Kolby is because Kolby mentioned, like, you're over here a brand manager. You don't have a history of being a brand manager. And Chelsea's like, you're not going to little girl my career.
Exactly.
Like, this is my position. This is what I'm doing. And to your point, when she brought up how Kolby, you just started content creating.
Exactly.
And you shouldn't put me down based off my career because of what I have or haven't done in the past. And I agree with that.
Yeah, no, to me, LaToya, Dr. LaToya, is the most ghetto on the show. Kolby is a child, at least show the characteristics of a child, to where it's like, hey, you can't really handle nothing hard and things of that nature. You don't really see the blessing in the hardships. And maybe, like I said, I give her bail to get out of jail because she's pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I've never been pregnant, never will be. So I really can't relate to that. But I will hope that now that they are kind of out of the woods and out of the forest with that she can actually see the blessing in hardships, that's actually a moment and an opportunity for us to come together and build stronger. But the whole idea of trying the little girl Chelsea was unprofessional. Chelsea should have kept her mouth shut. Chelsea shouldn't have been there. Mm-hmm. All the above, right? But guess who wasn't there? Kolby or LaToya. And for y'all to try to little girl her, it gives off some type of like, we are this type of class of people.
Elitist.
Yeah, elitist type of thing. Well, whole time, y'all not even like that for real. In my opinion. That's all I got to say about that. Anything else?
That's it.
Oh, that's the finale?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there'll be a season 3? I don't think so.
I don't know. They are doing a reunion, so.
Oh, yes.
Guess we have to talk about that.
I did see the reunion. I'm excited about the reunion.
I'm going to come in with a good attitude, y'all. So
I hope.
We're gonna do it and we're going to get it done.
Yes. I think Carlos is from Detroit.
Yes.
So I think he gonna do everything he can to protect it and give it a season 3. But I think he needs to have a cast meeting. And I think, hey, guess what? I think it's time to make some cast cuts.
But I don't think it helps to have these mid-season breaks, which isn't Carlos's fault. I mean, they literally just did it with Ready to Love, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to even remember these people.
I forgot we were reviewing that because they got us on Never Ever Mets.
Exactly. Yeah. They totally put a pause on Ready to Love. Yeah. So the network has to do better. That is so weird that they do that.
Yeah, it's weird. But let us know what y'all think about the cast. I was reading some of the comments from last episode to where it's like the weird cast staycation, the way they was running outside with clothes on for no reason. Let us know what y'all think about this franchise, what y'all think about this season, and what do y'all expect from the reunion. I expect Dr. LaToya to be ghetto. I expect Kolby to actually be in a better place because the baby is born.
Yeah.
So I expect the 3-year-old to be potty trained. So I think Kolby will actually be in a way better place that's totally opposite than what we saw on the show.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Let's subscribe, like, share, comment. We see y'all.
Bye.